cry. Sunshine, light up my eyes. Sunshine, light up my eyes. Yeah. Sitting by the roadside, looking at the cars go by, don't even know where they're going, yeah. Sitting by the roadside, looking at the cars go by, don't even know where they're going, yeah. Roadside, looking at the cars go by, don't even know where they're going, yeah.
Crazy Jimmy here with another Acid Archive Diary entry or submission. And this one's going to be kind of unique. This is actually part of a 2013 update that didn't make the book. I guess this album was discovered by the reviewers just after the book was published, because I have here in my hands an Acid Archives 2nd edition update, June 3rd, 2013, for this album I'm going to show you in just a second. So apparently the book was already done and published, was set up, and they couldn't get it in there in time, so it's part of the actual updates. So I can officially say this is an Acid Archive entry, even though it's not in this 2nd edition book. It's part of the 2nd edition updates. And this is it here. This is Richard Kneeland's Present Your Eras. And Richard Kneeland is an artist that is actually local to me from Worcester, Massachusetts. And I grew up in Massachusetts and then moved up to New Hampshire because of school and kind of never left New Hampshire. But this is... if you're going to find this out in the wild, you're going to find it probably in New England. That's probably the best place to find it. According to Richard himself, he had 1,000 of these printed up on a private label. And here's the back there. And again, the front, that's good old Richard there with some various, looks like a big cymbal and a drum, a bass drum. And you got a little guitar, you got a broken neck guitar there with some gear, but it's pretty cool. Love the basket. Pretty cool front cover. And, you know, the music is just like what the front cover looks like. I love that when that happens. You can pick up a private press that you don't know too much about, and the music is kind of indicative of what the front cover looks like, and then some. Let me show you the label here. This is on, I believe, Gothic Records, a privately pressed. Yep, Gothic Records. Richard said there was 1,000 of these pressed up. He really thought he was going to do well with this. This is from 1976, and it's in the singer-songwriter vein, but it's you know, it's definitely acid folk. It's a lot of acid going on here. That's why it's in the Acid Archives 2nd edition. So here's one of the articles. This is the Acid Archives 2nd edition update from 2013. So I'll read a little bit off of this for you. As I said, this was 1976. He's from Worcester, Mass. Before I do, actually, those two clips I played, both from the album, of course. The first one I played was Light Up My Eyes, and the second clip was Running Wild. And that is really indicative of what's on this album. You've got a lot of acoustic, singer-songwriter style music. There's also some full band music. There's some tracks here that have some pretty cool instruments going on. Harmonica, 12-string guitars, of course tambourines, the ARP synthesizer, ARP, that is. A real flute on some of the songs as well. So you got like a choir going on one of the songs. Really good 4-track harmonies too. He really harmonized them with himself well. He did pretty much all this himself. He did have some help from a few people. Kathy Kneeland played on it. Richard Kneeland, of course. Gary Pearson also played on it. Nancy O'Dowd, Linda Mishaw. So these are like Charles Duty. These are people that he knew that were local to Richard in the Massachusetts area. But here's the little bit about this one. I'm going to try to read this. The print's really small. But straight out of the Acid Archives 2nd edition updates. Right out of Bob Trimble country, except a few years earlier, comes young Master Kneeland, who despite his youth, has enough tricks up his sleeve to keep the listener intrigued. At first, the album seemed kind of disjointed in its mix of singer-songwriter and atmospheric instrumentals, and there was no obvious signature song to grab onto as an initial reference point either. Yet something in there demanded repeated plays, and I ended up keeping the disc on my turntable for a couple of days, flipping it over and over for scrutiny and simply to enjoy. It's familiar terrain for 70s private press collectors, a semi-eclectic production with guitar picking, bass but no drums, an occasional flute and ARP synth supporting Kneeland's rather agreeable voice, or in the case of the instrumentals, let's flip it, successfully instilling a thoughtful nocturnal mood. The vibe I get is a college student home for Christmas sitting in his old room and brooding over the past and present. It's not neurotic or suicidal, but a more complex, reflective state of mind. Kneeland's self-confidence carries the album and allows him to open side 1 with a nonsensical little instrumental ditty, and there are quirky moments scattered throughout that keep one guessing. Sound-wise, it could be compared to Carl Erdmann for the instrumental passages, while the dominating singer-songwriter style reminds me a bit of Communication 1, or a more experimental and less rootsy Millard and Dice. Most of all, it simply sounds like Richard Kneeland, which is high praise. And if you're like me, and you will award it with enough spins needed to get to know him, it's clearly better than something like Chris Yates, and is good or slightly better than Carl Hackinson. Specialists in local singer-songwriter and moody 70s private press albums need to check this out. The cover is pretty amusing and contributes to the clever, slightly ironic impression of the artist, who also reported the press size in an internet post, which was 1,000 of these pressed. So, I mean, I really love it. I absolutely love, of course, the 2 snips I played to start this video, but there's so much more on this. I can play this through over and over, just as the reviewer said, and find something new each time. The vocals are phenomenal. I love his vocals. I love his vocals. I love the sound of his voice. The press, it's a private press, and normally those can be hit or miss, but the sound quality on this is actually really good. It's very full, and it kind of feels like he's in the living room with you. So it's got that nice, transparent, 3-dimensional sound that you want out of an analog vinyl disc. And this really does have it. It was recorded really well. It was mixed really well. I mean, I love it. I think it's a fantastic album. There are some liner notes on the back written by Thomas N. Baruch. Most of the songs on this album are compositions penned by Richard Kneeland. It has a definite localized flavor, which does not detract from the warmth and sensitivity of their biographical nature. The Peach, as he is affectionately called by his close friends, cares about the quality of the music he generates. Much time was spent preparing this brew, adding just the right mixture gradually, restructuring and mixing down fine pieces of music. The album is held together fairly well. The serious nature of its themes flows smoothly through skillful arrangements. We are all very excited by our first effort. We hope you will latch on to the bits of dark moods and bright happiness we present to you between the sleeves of this album. The lyrics are quite personal, applicable to us all, however, as we think of the meaning of our lives and the directions our road of life has taken. For those of you who are reaching for something a little different for your audio needs, grab onto this one. You'll be pleasantly surprised and pleased. So that is the back there. This was recorded between February 75 and March of 76. So, but there it is. Richard Kneeland, Present Your Eras. If you can find this out there, grab it. They range. I'll tell you now, looking online, these things range typically around 300 back in the day. I want to say about 5 years ago. And now, this is probably going to fetch 500 to 800 if you see it online. If you see it out in the wild, then, hey, you might get a deal. But don't pass up on it. Richard Kneeland, Present Your Eras. Thanks for watching this Acid Archive Diary submission. Please hit the subscribe button, comment if you'd like. I try to answer every single comment. Coming at you with more content down the road. Thanks for watching. Crazy Jimmy is out.